This is Nicholas Glover with the Tampa Bay Chamber. I want to thank and welcome the viewers tuning into our 2023 candidate interview series for the City of Tampa's City Council elections. The Chamber focuses on policy, not politics. And while we do not endorse, we do want to make sure that our members and the business community are informed on where these candidates stand on the issues most important to the business community. We are excited to have Tyler Barrett with us today, running for City Council District 6. Thanks for joining us, Tyler.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So we're just about 35 days from Election Day. And now that we are in this final stretch, can you give us a brief update on the campaign, how things are going, and what message you hope to deliver to voters?
Absolutely. So thank you all again for having this, hosting this. It's an honor to be chatting with you today. The campaign's going great. We are building a grassroots machine. I've been an organizer for 10 years, so knocking on doors and calling voters and having those tough conversations, agitating folks to get their issues out to City Hall is a passion of mine, and it has been for some time. So I love what I'm doing right now, and I look forward to doing it for 4 more years. Or 4 years, I shouldn't say 4 more yet. But yeah, it's going great. We've had some endorsements from former City Councilwoman Yoli Capine, as well as former City Councilwoman Mary Mulhern, two incredible, proud, strong women who have a record of fighting for Tampa. So we're excited. We don't have a whole lot of time left. Ballots go out today. So, you know, at this point, it's just about continuing to knock and have those conversations.
Thank you, Tyler. What is the role of City Council as you see it, and how do you see that role evolving over time, if you do see it evolving?
Absolutely, yeah, I see it evolving. So first, essentially, City Council's role is to write local legislation known as ordinances. We have to set a budget and regulate land use and zoning. But most importantly, we have to represent the needs of the people in the neighborhoods in Tampa. And I see that evolving by constituency outreach. As the next City Council person, we don't plan to just sit in the office. We plan to get out in the streets, as we've always done, to build public awareness campaigns and make sure everyone is involved in the process.
Tyler, you mentioned that one of the responsibilities of council is approving the budget. That is obviously one of the biggest responsibilities. And what I want to ask you next is about kind of the backdrop economically. Some state experts and analysts are anticipating potentially a slowdown during your term. If that happens, how should the city prioritize their spending?
Infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure. That means sidewalks. That means better roads, including, you know, alternatives to asphalt to protect our environment. We have to make a strong, bold effort to do things differently. We've had the same old now for a long time. So it's time for something fresh and different. And it's time for, you know, not just Band-Aid fixes, but real investment in the most vulnerable areas of Tampa for the betterment of our whole society.
Excellent. One of the areas that the Chamber is very passionate about is workforce housing. And as context, we define workforce housing as that missing middle, that 80 to 120% of area median income. And what I want to ask you next is what zoning or policy changes would you support to address the growing workforce housing needs in Tampa?
So I would like to see smart green growth. So development is great. We want to see more density. We have to. But what we also need to make sure is that we are building neighborhood coalitions between these passionate homeowners and these new fresh faces or young folks who have lived here, who just want, you know, a roof over their head and somewhere to thrive. And we've seen that these work in cities all over the world. So what we need to do is focus on making sure our processes are streamlined so that we're not getting caught up and bogged down with petty political drama, frankly, that we've seen on the City Council. So we need to, you know, look at our zoning and ensure that we are focusing on sustainability and not just pushing things through, but making sure we're not, you know, taking more time than necessary to ensure that we are expanding and growing. But we also need to ensure that these new projects match our charm and our legacy here in Tampa.
Thank you for that. Let's talk about the idea of home rule. Local governments across the state have been critical of the legislature in recent years. Do you agree, Tyler, that preemption has become a problem in Tallahassee? And if so, how would you work to establish a more productive relationship with our legislative delegation?
So Tallahassee is not Tampa. Local governance is always best. We know what the people, or we should know as elected officials and leaders in the community, what our people here in Tampa need. With that being said, I have a record of working with people who I passionately disagree with at times and others who I passionately agree with. But what we need to do is make sure that we are building pressure in our halls of local government to let Tallahassee know that the people of Tampa have our own voice and our own passions, and we know what's best for us. So I'm here to fight for Tampa. That is the role of the city council person, and that's what I'm going to do. I completely agree that preemption has become an issue. And again, locals know what their needs are. So we need to empower them, not take away their voice.
Thank you. The utilization of public-private partnerships continues to be an asset for local governments across the country. What opportunities for P3s do you see in the city of Tampa?
So I see tons of opportunity here. We need to engage stakeholders in public and private sectors and come together for local projects, transportation being one of those. While we need to fight for federal grant dollars with transit projects and infrastructure projects, people here love Tampa. And the leaders here in the public and private sectors, they want to be here. They want to make our city better. So what we need to do is engage. We certainly have had, people say these things before, right? We hear people say, oh, P3s are great and P3s can help our city. Absolutely. But what are we going to do? I have a record of this. I have a record of building coalitions with public and private leadership for the betterment of our community. And I'm going to take that passion and that skill set to City Hall to ensure that everyone is informed and that we are having, again, those tough conversations, because at the end of the day, we all want what's best for Tampa. So there are tons of opportunities there, but it's going to require bringing all the voices to the table and having those conversations.
Thank you. Let's talk about transportation. It wouldn't be a City of Tampa conversation without talking about transportation. Uncertainty persists with the already collected All for Transportation referendum dollars. As you may know, Tyler, the fate of those dollars now rests in the hands of the Florida legislature. Assuming that Hillsborough is able to secure those funds this legislative session, what are the most critical pressing investments you'd like to see made?
I would like to see investments in livability. So of course that is transit, but we can't just say, we'll throw money at this. That's just not a good enough answer anymore. What we have to do is build a comprehensive plan. And we have to work together to ensure that we are modeling Tampa after cities that have seen success with clean transit. I firmly believe that the streetcars that reduce our carbon footprint, they promote walkability, they're just generally safer. I'm all for that. And also, obviously, I do believe in investing in hard, but it's going to take a holistic approach, right? So we can't just say we want better transit and then have no safe crosswalks and safe streets. Kids should be able to ride to the store in Tampa without fear of getting run over. And that's something I've heard. That's not just anecdotal evidence. Those are real conversations we're hearing in West Tampa at the doors. So again, a holistic approach. We want to fund hard and build up the workers who, frankly, are having. They got a lot of responsibility, and I'm not sure that everyone really realizes how passionate some of those hard workers are in their efforts to reform our transit system. But again, livability. So that means walkable streets, biking paths, not just implementing biking lanes that people are too afraid to use. We can build natural barriers for protection, street vegetation, hedges, and there are a whole list of other environmentally friendly options so that we can not only reframe the way we think about transportation and our message, but again, taking bold approaches for reform. So investment all the way, but I also think we need to sit down and look at our spending and reprioritize what's important to us. The answer is not just throwing money at things, it's actually reprioritizing and reassessing the situation.
Thank you. We've touched on several very important policy positions today, but before we wrap up, Tyler, are there any priorities that we haven't discussed that you'd like to talk about, or something you want to circle back to reemphasize?
Yes, so I'm pretty sure I mentioned this a few times, but I'll circle back to livability, walkability, air quality. People should not be driven out of their communities because of flooding. We have got to make sure that drainage ditches are a thing of the past, and that we are investing in ways to mitigate flooding, such as porous asphalt. Infrared asphalt is another option, so that we are recycling and not just throwing things away and contributing to pollution. This also includes sustainable filling potholes with sustainable material, such as GAT, which is grit assisted patches. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it is a repurposed wastewater that is turned into patches for filling potholes. It saves money, it's environmentally friendly, and these changes, these bold, sustainable efforts are going to keep people in their neighborhoods. There are people, we've seen for years and years, people have been talking about stormwater, but what have we done to mitigate the flooding and ensure sustainability and resilience in these neighborhoods that need it most? But it affects everyone, it affects everyone. So we haven't done enough. So those are my priorities. But also I plan to continue post-election to knock doors as the next city council person and keep having these conversations to ensure that it's not Tyler Barrett's message, it's the people's message.
And finally, Tyler, where can voters go to learn more about you and your campaign and the positions that are the most important to them?
So best place to go is our website. That's www.tylerfortampa.com. TYLER, the number 4, Tampa.com. We're on Twitter as Tyler for Tampa, Facebook, Tyler Barrett for Tampa City Council, and Instagram, Tyler for Tampa. And some of our Gen Z volunteers are pushing me to get on TikTok, but you may know as well as I do, that's probably something that's best for them to handle. So yeah.
Tyler doesn't tick or talk.
Barrett, not yet.
Tyler Barrett running for City Council District 6. On behalf of our members and our board of directors, we want to thank you, sir, for joining us today and for your willingness to serve in an elected office. That concludes our interview today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.